Ladies and gentlemen, before we hear from our next governor of Texas, let's hear a message from someone else that's really special. Help me welcome Wendy's daughter, Amber Davis.
Thank you, Kirk and Cecile. You're so sweet. You have such kind words. I'm not even going to look in this direction because I'm going to start crying. Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here tonight. And I know my sister Drew would have wanted to be here as well, but thanks to the Texas Tribune, she's watching online. I have the privilege of introducing you this evening to my best friend, my role model, and my inspiration, and make no mistake, the best mother in the world. To Drew and me, she is our mom who we love dearly, but is also with great honor and great pride that I get to introduce you to the next governor of the great state of Texas, Wendy Davis. Thank you all. Thank you. I love you. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. Please, please. Thank you. I am so honored to be here with all of you tonight to join my colleagues from the Texas Senate, our caucus chair, Senator Kirk Watson, my sister, Senator Leticia Van de Putte, Cecile, to be part of honoring you this evening, and Mr. Chair and Madam Chair. And to all of you from Travis County, it is wonderful to be with you this evening. Absolutely wonderful. I cannot thank you enough for the friendship and the support that you've given me already during this campaign. Traveling this state and meeting with folks from all walks of life, hearing people's stories and ideas, it's already been one of the greatest experiences of my life. But over the last 10 days, my opponent and his allies have done everything in their power to distort the facts and distract voters from what's really at stake in this election. So tonight I'm going to take a moment to set the record straight so that we can get back to the issues that are so important in this campaign, that are so important to the people of Texas. My daughters, Amber and Drew, know better than anyone that I like to handle things like a Texan, to speak my mind honestly and directly. We've had enough. Texas voters have had enough of distortions and distractions. The choice that Texans face this fall is just too important to tolerate that. And this is all happening, of course, for a simple reason. Greg Abbott and his allies have had a stranglehold on power in this state for 2 decades, and they want to keep it. But now they're hearing all of those voices that they've shut out and silenced for so long. We've surprised a lot of people. We outraised our opponent. We have more grassroots support, more small donors than any of us can remember a statewide campaign ever having. And what this means is that at long last, Greg Abbott and his friends are going to be held accountable for for the way they've run this state. They know they cannot defend their public record, so they're attacking my private life. Now, when it comes to these attacks on my life story, I don't take it personally, but you should, because my story is the story of millions of people across this state, people who struggle, people who are faced with hard decisions and long odds, but keep fighting because they will do anything to give their family a chance at a better life. If you're one of those people, if you know the pain of a failed marriage, if you know what it's like to raise a child on your own, if you know what it's like to get home from work from your second job, only to find that your power's been shut off because you couldn't afford to pay the bill, then Greg Abbott isn't just attacking my story. He's attacking yours too. Now, Greg Abbott can sink as low as he wants, but I won't let him drag me down with him, and I will not let him drag Texans down with him. He can run a campaign that distorts my past, but I'm going to run one with a vision for your future that is shaped by the challenges and the triumphs of my past. There's one thing I have to say, though, on this topic before I leave Greg Abbott and his allies to play in the gutter once and for all. And I want to say it right here, right now, with Texas listening, because I want to make sure that our opponents can hear it loud and clear. You can attack my record. You can challenge my ideas. You can play holier than life with my life story. But I draw the line when it comes to lying about my family. Most women, as I did, think that the moment they become the sole caregiver of their child is the time when their marriage ends. My divorce was official on a piece of paper when I was 21. But in reality, my marriage ended when I was 19, and I became Amber's sole caregiver, and I remained so for several years. I pursued my education not instead of being a good mother, but because being a good mother required that I build a better life for my family. And a better education made that possible for me and for Amber. And even after I remarried, I finished my education to pursue that better life and to make sure that my daughters saw up close the power of determination and the pride of fulfilling your potential. And during my almost 17-year marriage, my daughters learned that families sacrifice for one another, work with one another, and cooperate with each other to help one another achieve their dreams. My former husband, Jeff, was generous and supportive when it came to my education. When I went to Harvard Law School, our daughters came to Boston with me. But we decided as a family, after the first semester, that it was much better for them to be in Texas, in their home, with their friends, in their schools, and with the daily help of someone that I call Mom. So during the rest of law school, I split my time between Texas and Boston, traveling back and forth as much as I could, including 2 weeks of every 4 at home with my daughters during my last year in school. The truth is that this was a family effort from beginning to end. It was a family effort when Jeff cashed in a 401k to help pay for law school, and it was a family effort once I became a successful lawyer, working and contributing to my family finances to help pay off my law school loans over the next decade. I will always be grateful to Jeff for that partnership. And when our marriage ended, 10 years after my graduation, he and I remained partners, sharing the responsibilities of parenting and doing what was right for Amber and Drew. I am very proud of our family and of the decisions that we made together to do what was right for our daughters. And for those who have mangled the story of my life, either carelessly or purposely, know this: I never gave up custody of my children. I never lost custody of my children. And to say otherwise is an absolute lie. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. They were my children the day they were born. They are my children today, and they will be my children forever. They have been at the center of my life since the moment that theirs began, and they will be at the center of my life until the moment that it ends. These false attacks say more about my opponent's character than they do about me. And you know what? I've found that Texans are pretty good at sizing up people's character without being told. Texans want this campaign to be a debate about who we are as public servants and who we'd be as governors. And we would be very different governors. As governor, Greg Abbott would continue turning a blind eye to predatory lending. As Attorney General, he opened the door to allow these vultures to prey on our communities, including our military families, Leticia, by removing common sense limits on payday loans. And now that they've contributed well over $150,000 to his campaign, you can bet that he won't change his tune as governor. I'm proud to have led the fight to crack down on these predators because we need to protect the economic security of our brave soldiers and our most vulnerable citizens. And when I'm governor, we will. As governor, Greg Abbott would turn away the return of approximately $100 billion in our tax money to this state over the next 10 years. Resources that would provide health care coverage to more than 1 million uninsured, hardworking people in this state, and that would create a stimulus to our economy. I've taken a strong position on this issue because I believe we need to keep the burden of health care off of local taxpayers through their property tax bills. And when I'm governor, we will. As governor, Greg Abbott will assure that the fat cats keep getting fatter. But I believe that we need to fight for consumers in this state and work to get home insurance costs lowered to make home ownership more affordable and to keep hardworking Texans from getting gouged. And when I'm governor, we will. Worst of all, as governor, Greg Abbott would continue to shortchange our public schools, a practice that puts our state's very future in jeopardy. If we stay on Greg Abbott's course, a quarter of a century from now, 30% of our labor force will not have a high school diploma. And not only will our average household income fail to keep pace with inflation, it'll actually decline by more than $6,000. Greg Abbott is in court right now defending billions of dollars in Rick Perry's cuts to our already underfunded public schools. But it's more than that. The Abbott education agenda is a betrayal of our communities who would have to turn to local property tax increases to fund our schools. It's a betrayal of our economy, which relies on a well-trained workforce. And it's a betrayal of the vision that our forefathers had for this state. There's only one constitutional duty that our forefathers assigned to our representatives in Austin. Give the people of Texas a public education system that gives every child a chance, and make this beautiful state a place where how far you can go is never determined by where you start. This commitment to public schools is not just in our Constitution. It's in our DNA. For generations, we've been a state of builders, doers, leaders. Look at the wildcatters who built the oil and gas industry. Look at the ranchers and farmers who provide for our families and our nation. Look at the innovators who continue to make our computer chips smaller and faster and cheaper. Look at the people, hard-working people who call this state home, single moms and married ones who want nothing more than a brighter future for themselves and their children. They're doing their part, and they deserve to know that we'll do our part too. That's who we are. That's Texas. That's why a 19-year-old mother raising a child on her own in a trailer and then in a small apartment, sometimes sitting in the dark, praying for an answer to how she will turn the lights back on, can rise to the top of her class at TCU and earn a chance to attend Harvard Law School. And that's why that woman is standing before you today as a candidate for the governor of the great state of Texas. You all know that education is a promise that we make to our children. Stay in school, do your homework, study hard, and you can achieve anything. But public education is a promise that we make to each other and to the generations that will follow us. It's a promise that says, build your factory here, and you'll find plenty of qualified men and women ready to go to work. It's a promise that says, raise your family here, and no matter where you come from, your kids can go far. It's a promise that says, in this state, no one gets left out. No one gets counted out. As governor, Greg Abbott would break that promise, a promise that has endured for more than a century, a promise that our forefathers trusted us to keep, a promise of what it is at the heart to be a Texan. I want to restore that promise by adequately funding our schools, updating a broken formula that forces school districts to go to court to hold their leaders accountable to our responsibilities under our Constitution. And when I'm governor, I will. Now, folks, I'm staying focused on the issues that matter to Texans because this race isn't about a distorted version of what happened to my family 30 years ago. It's about what's going to happen to your family 30 years from now. Greg Abbott and his folks have picked a fight with the wrong Texas gal. If they think that I will shrink from working to fight for a just and bright future for all Texans, and know this, I will keep fighting hard, no matter what the other side throws at me. And that's why I'm asking you to continue to join me in this fight. The fight for the voices of hardworking Texans across this state. The fight for consumers, the fight for our veterans, the fight for our schools, for our teachers, for our children. The fight for our future. The fight for our Texas. I won't let anyone take my family's truth away from me. Don't let them take the important choice that you have in this election away from you. And when we will, and I know that we will, I will always remember that you stood with me and that you fought with me. I will always remember the cause that is greater than any one of us, making Texas a state where you start does not determine how far you can go. God bless you, my friends. God bless my beautiful daughters, Amber and Drew. And God bless Texas. Thank you very, very much.